President Donald Trump has resurrected his travel ban from his first term, announcing a new ban for people from 12 nations looking to enter the United States. Now, the president also declared heightened travel restrictions on 7 further countries.
Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. That is why today I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed.
Donald Trump there. So what does it mean for people applying for visas to the US? I want to bring in US immigration lawyer Sherwin Noorian. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So what does it mean for people? Because this is a pretty significant ban, a lot of countries covered.
Yes, it's an outright ban on visa issuance and entry, both non-immigrant visas such as visitors and students, as well as immigrant visas, which is permanent residents, refugees, things like that. So it's an outright ban based on nationality.
Okay, and how has he been able to do this? Because the so-called Muslim ban, as it was called in the first term, got into all sorts of strife and wasn't implementable. How is this implementable?
I think they've taken care this time to avoid the religious discrimination aspect, which the first travel ban had with the Muslim ban, as they called it. This time they've constructed a framework based around information sharing from the host countries with the United States for visa processing. In other words, criminal background checks, terrorism watch lists, things like that. So what they're saying is we've gone and studied these different countries and they are not sharing information with us. So for that reason, we're going to simply not issue visas of any kind to these nationalities.
And what do the countries have in common?
Not a lot. There's not one common theme in terms of religion or anything like that. But what many of them do have is that they're a source of refugees into the United States. High levels, for example, Haiti, Venezuela. Many of them have high rates of overstays on visitor visas, for example. That's one thing they cited. But I do think that they are targeting countries that have had a large volume of refugee resettlement in the United States over previous years.
Yeah, well, Haiti obviously is a big example there. It was a huge election issue too. Well,
yes, it was.
This is the eating the cats and dogs stuff, isn't it? This is just to give people some context who are watching. So what happens in relation to those people, especially the ones that are already in the US?
Yes, so those who are already in the United States in a sort of a temporary or limbo state, and they're not already permanent residents, they might be able to continue staying in the US as long as they do not leave. Because as soon as they leave, if their visas are actually expired, if they have a visa, they will not be able to obtain a new one. So they will be in this limbo state in the US for some time.
And will this be fiercely legally challenged?
I think yes. As with most of his controversial actions, there will be lawsuits all around very soon, and very likely to go to even the Supreme Court, I think, this one. Yeah.
Of course, this could affect Australian dual nationals too. Just give me a sense of how it might, because we have many, in fact, we learnt that in our own pre-election period. There are many Australians who are dual nationals.
Yes.
How might that work?
So that's correct. We have a lot of dual nationals, for example, from Iran, one of the countries that is banned. And there is an exemption for dual nationals if they are traveling on their other passport, for example, Australian. However, practically speaking, I think visa issuances for certain nationalities, such as Iran, has already been, over recent years, very difficult. Even though you're an Australian citizen, if you're also an Iranian citizen, we have many clients who've been unable to obtain visas to even visit the US. So this is going to make it even tougher. For other nationalities, perhaps the exemption may suit them and may allow for visa issuance, but it remains to be seen.
Okay, so if you're an Australian who also has Iranian heritage, is this a sort of difficult? Would you urge people to be very cautious? It sounds to me like it's a pretty precarious position.
Yes, so already Australian, Iranian dual citizens are unable to use what's called the ESTA, which is sort of the online visa-free way to access the US to visit. That was taken away a number of years ago. Since then, it's been very difficult for them to get even visitor visas they get sort of indefinitely delayed for months or even years. So this is only going to make it harder because there's this official finding, even though they might also be Australian. I think that is going to hinder even further the visa issuances.
Have you spoken to clients today who are worried about this?
I have been getting calls from some who are concerned. They maybe not be aware of exemptions, or they're hearing travel bans. I think there's a lot of nerves out there about this.
Yeah, there certainly are. Thank you so much for coming in and explaining it to us.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Recriminations over the defection of Senator